If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I've talked about the dangers with Elon Musk, and I'm shocked to see how many people are actually siding with Elon Musk, but I understand that it's very, very easy to get sucked into this left-right paradigm because obviously if I did believe in the left-right, I would be considered a Republican and I would be, on that side, but I don't believe in that, and I know what they're trying to do and how they're baiting people into this civil war, and they're giving people false sense of hope to put their hope in humans and other people and politicians instead of putting their hopes in Christ, who all of your faith should be in alone, not in any of these monsters who are working together, of course, to destroy everything and then rebuild the phoenix rising out of the ashes under the guideship, of course, of Lucifer. The Luciferian doctrine is what they follow. And I've talked about Elon Musk. And of course, there's so many people who are just defending Elon Musk and they're like, this is so good. And Call, how could you not be happy about this? You're somebody who's suppressed by the free speech and all that crap that's going on social media, because this is just part of the show. And of all the people to do it, the guy who very well could be the Antichrist, the guy who is pushing the Neuralink, which will totally take free thought and free will away from people, is the face of this movement. And I've said it before, that when I think about the Antichrist and the deception, I don't worry and think, all these liberals are deceived. Those people are already done. Those people are whacked out of their minds. It's the Republican side of people that need to be deceived. Christians are the ones that are going to be deceived. The liberal people, yes, they're deceived, but they're insane. They're out of their minds. They're satanic and wicked already. They're foregone. You don't even need to say, they need somebody to deceive. They are deceived. The way that they live and the things that they want and the perversions and all the crap that they're into. The Republicans are being deceived and need to be deceived. And Elon Musk is now somebody who can deceive them into the Neuralink and deceive them into taking the mark and connecting themselves with technology. And this is an article, and this is what I've been talking about and I've been worried about for quite some time. Every time I've talked about the Neuralink, and I've talked about the mark, and I've talked about your DNA and all these things coming together, one of the ways it's going to be marketed, you have to think of how it's going to be marketed. You can't just think to yourself, people are just going to run and go take it. They're not going to have a choice. They are going to have a choice. And one of the ways, of course, we know with being able to buy and sell and currency and all that is going to be obviously involved with the mark, like the Bible tells us. But the benefits of this, brain chips, Elon Musk boasts that brain chips will 100% cure common illness. These are things that are going to be used to get people on board. You won't get sick anymore. You will live forever. You won't age. I've said it over and over, and I'll continue to say it. That is part of the reason you see so much vanity being pushed. People are obsessed with a wrinkle on their forehead. They go freak out. Okay? People don't want to age. People don't want to get sick. They don't realize that all these illnesses and stuff are being created by our own governments who are poisoning us with metals and everything else from the sky and into our foods. And then Elon Musk is going to tell you, the Neuralink will cure all common illnesses, including things like, depression.
This woman was severely depressed. Now she says she has her life back. And it's not thanks to drugs or years and years of therapy, but a device that's implanted in her brain. According to the World Health Organization, there are around 264 million people who suffer from depression. And though there is still so much we don't know about depression, one thing the medical community does know is that there is no one-size-fits-all treatment. And that notion is at the core of an experiment that appears to have successfully treated a woman's severe depression using a brain implant. Now, a warning, we're going to be talking about suicide and suicidal thoughts. So if that sort of thing is hard for you to hear about, maybe consider not watching this. We only know the patient as Sarah. She wanted to keep her full identity a secret. But in an audio recording with researchers, she says she'd been struggling with severe depression for years.
My daily life had become so restricted and impoverished by depression that I felt tortured by each day I forced myself to resist the suicidal impulses that overtook me several times an hour.
She says she'd tried every type of therapy and treatment with no results, until researchers at UC San Francisco recruited her for experimental therapy back in 2020. They implanted a matchbook-sized device similar to this one in her brain. Now, this device is designed to detect when Sarah starts becoming depressed. Then it sends electrical pulses through Sarah's brain to prevent that depression. Now, this is a form of treatment known as deep brain stimulation, and it's already used to treat disorders like Parkinson's. DBS as a treatment for depression actually isn't new. It's been studied before with mixed results. But this is the first time the stimulation has ever been customized to the patient.
People with depression are very different from each other. And generally, depression therapy has been a one-size-fits-all endeavor.
Dr. Andrew Crystal is one of the lead authors on the study.
For us, the particular kinds of symptoms a person has matters because we're trying to match how we intervene so that it fixes the specific kind of problem that they have.
To personalize treatment for Sarah, they started by creating a map of her neural activity. They spent 10 days monitoring her neural patterns, stimulating different areas of her brain, and tracking changes in her mood.
What we saw is that depending on where you stimulate, you could achieve several different kinds of effects, a number of them that a person could find beneficial.
Sarah remembers the first time that stimulation took away her depression.
The aha moment occurred. I felt the most intensely joyous sensation, and my depression was a distant nightmare for a moment.
And by the end of it, the researchers developed what they called Sarah's depression circuit.
The question was which places that we stimulated that led to the set of changes that aligned with our patient's symptoms. And it was one that aligned best with her symptoms.
Think of it as a blueprint for what Sarah's brain looks like when she's depressed. Now that they had this blueprint, they could customize a DBS device to do two things. First, it could recognize when Sarah's neural activity matched her depression circuit. And when it did detect that pattern, the device could stimulate the part of her brain that had already shown to best relieve those symptoms.
That's the electrical field.
This seems a drastic treatment.
Got the deep brain stimulating electrode coming in here, generating an electrical field.
Surgically implanting a device into a patient's brain to treat obsessive thoughts. But patient Nanette Vardy-Forth was willing to try anything to feel better.
To leave the house, you have to perform a lot of rituals, a lot of checking, rearranging, to make sure that the taps are off, the light switches are off.
Even something as simple as getting to an appointment was a challenge.
Well, it's very frustrating because it doesn't end. It will just keep on going and the bad feeling will stay.
In Nanette and 8 other patients, scientists used electrodes to stimulate the part of the brain responsible for fear.
This electricity dampens that fear response and allows people with OCD then to challenge some of these intrusive thoughts.
The clinical effect was quite marked. This one goes to here.
At the start of the study, half of the patients didn't have the device switched on, showing the therapy was a promising treatment.
When you turn it on, the thoughts abate and the compulsions to do these actions abated.
And soon, more people could benefit.
We're about to start a trial in anorexia and for pain.
More than 500,000 Australians have OCD, but this treatment isn't for everybody. It's only recommended when medication and therapy haven't made any difference. For Nanette, at least, the treatment was nothing short of life-changing.
So, depression, Parkinson's, there are so many things if you do research on the Neuralink or brain chips that they're pushing. People who are paralyzed, how it's a miracle and they can suddenly walk, they get their brain functioning again. People who have Alzheimer's suddenly are remembering it. The only reason that things like Alzheimer's are, running so rampant in our society is because of what they're doing to people from the skies and in the food. That's why, but people don't ask questions like that. Autism, all this other stuff from taking those potions at birth and everything else. So Elon Musk has claimed that he will cure a common and debilitating disease using computer chips hooked to people's brains. In a recent tweet, the billionaire said that his company Neuralink will fix certain illnesses, including tinnitus, a condition that causes ring in the ears by 2027. You saw with depression how they were pushing, brain chips causing depression. And people are just like, why is there so much depression? Well, turn your TV off and you probably won't be depressed anymore. Turn your internet off. They make everybody feel like crap. Then they tell everybody, oh, we need to be all loving and caring. They're the ones who are doing all this stuff instead of letting people just naturally be strong, be able to combat bullying by bullying and all this other stuff. They want everyone to be weak and emotional and frail and fragile so they can continue to beat people into a depression. Well, then they tell everyone to lock themselves up, which I'm sure that doesn't aid to depression or anything else. I mean, it's unbelievable. But the marketing of this is going to be focused around curing diseases, living forever, living longer, feeling healthy, sleeping less, doing more, those types of things. And that's why all the marketing you've seen over the years has been about those topics. Building yourself up, being the best you, right? Self-absorbed. Everyone's self-absorbed. And then they can come out and they can start marketing. Well, not only that, I mean, not only can you be perfect and be the best human in the world, because you'll be transhuman, but you also don't ever have to worry about getting sick. And of course, that also ties into the outbreak, right? Because it's not going away. They tell us it's not going away. They say it over and over. It's never going anywhere. We're going to have to learn to live with it until there's this miracle like Neuralink, which I think they might even market it different or have a new name for it when it's all said and done. I wouldn't even be surprised if they just called it the Beast or something along those lines. But nothing would surprise me at this point. And of course, you have Elon Musk here being put front and center, and he's tweeting stuff about Freemasonry. So he's really working to get everybody on board with like, oh, he's a truther. He's awake. I mean, the fact, when I started doing this stuff here on YouTube, I was doing it obviously offline, talking to people, trying to wake people up. It's amazing when we all used to, there was a lot of channels that go after each other and talk about, shilling and blah, blah, blah. And in reality, like all the channels that went after each other, none of them were actually like CIA operatives. And then you actually see the CIA operatives, and then it blows my mind. It's like people think Elon Musk is one of us. People think that Russell Brand is one of us. He dated a Rothschild, for crying out loud. Do you know the goyim that we are, according to them? You wouldn't even be allowed in the same, vicinity of a Rothschild. He dated one, and now he's a truther, and he's still in Hollywood movies, and he dated Katy Perry, another witch. And, Elon Musk, he's the richest man in the world. No, but he cares so much about humanity and free speech and everyone else. They are working everybody into this, and they're going to market it this way. I wanted to cover this story because, I mean, it is something that people need to keep an eye on. This guy potentially could be the Antichrist. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that have speculation about it, who it is, who it isn't. But let's realistically look at this. And if you actually think that this guy is standing for your rights and, something as little as being able to speak on Twitter, who even cares really at this point? It's just an illusion that they're taking away free speech because they're taking off social media. Say what you want out in public, but, they're making everything digital because that has to do with the Mark II and living in the metaverse and a digital reality. But that's another story, again, for another day. So, reminder, check out the website at callfornuprising.com. More information about this being shared over there, as well as some important stuff going on vitamins. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but, they don't want you to have vitamins anymore. And I shouldn't say vitamins, supplements. A lot of us take supplements to combat the soft metals and the radiation poisoning and all that stuff that they are just pushing on us. Well, the FDA wants full control over that things can't go to market unless they approve of it. So that video's up over on the website, and there's obviously a lot of people talking about it in the forum. I hope to see everybody over there. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks again for being here. God bless you and your families.